Hello, and welcome back to the Talking Apron. I'm your host, Ann Bernardin, and I'm so happy you're here with us today. Today, we're going to be talking about another vegetable and how to use it. And specifically, the podcast title, as it says, is Celery Spotlight: Simple Ways to Elevate Your Cooking and Your Health. So, a kitchen and refrigerator staple is celery. And it often gets overlooked, but sometimes it deserves a starring role. Why? Why am I going to be talking about celery? Well, sometimes we think kale, we think spinach, we think red peppers and carrots for all the nutrient-dense vegetables, when right in front of us we have celery. Now, granted, it's not on the top, but it is there. So we can use celery as our powerhouse and nutritional ingredient in many of our dishes. So in this episode, we're going to be exploring the nutritional benefits of celery, and I'm going to share 3 different ways to use it. A classic tuna salad as a base for all the sauces you may be making, and then hearty soups. So stick around for the recipes. Now, go ahead and go grab your cuppa. This isn't going to be a long episode, but stay with me to the end. You'll hear some great stuff. All right, what are the nutritional benefits of celery? Well, it isn't just crunchy. It's packed with nutrients. And here's why it's important to include it with your meals. Well, for one, it's low in calories. We know that. People on a diet, they'll snack on celery. Well, don't just think of the diet options, think of the nutrition options. One, they're very rich in fiber, and that helps keep us fuller longer. Another is they're high in water. If you ever eat a salad before bed and it includes celery, don't you know that you might have to go to the bathroom before you sleep? Because otherwise you're waking up because of all the water, 95% water in celery. So it helps with our daily hydration. The next is it's loaded with antioxidants. And the antioxidants help us fight inflammation. And now they're talking all about doctors, the news, Instagram, all about metabolic health and how inflammation is creating havoc and causing certain diseases. Well, celery has those anti-inflammatory properties. And then the vitamins and minerals that are in celery. Vitamin K, vitamin C, potassium, and then a small amount of folate. So this is why we want to include celery and not just highlight it, but know what's going into your meals. Know why it's adding the crunch to tuna salad. Know why, I'll be talking about tuna salad in just a minute, know why the day after you make tuna salad, what happens? You notice that it's kind of watery? Well, that's the celery. So you just stir it up. That's all. All right, so how to make a good basic tuna salad. Now, we all have different things we want to put in. I know my daughter likes adding pickle. I add pickle sometimes, or relish. I add mustard. But let's talk a little bit more traditional. So if it's just for yourself for one meal, then you're going to be adding 1 can of tuna. And then you'll be looking at 2 celery stalks, some red onion, if you choose to have onion. We'll have mayonnaise or a mixture of a little bit of mayo and some low-fat Greek yogurt. Then we'll add a little bit of Dijon mustard, kind of for that little bit of spice, and some lemon juice if you have it on hand, and then a little bit of pepper to taste. I don't say salt because it's tuna fish. It's from the ocean. It already has salt. So this is not a hard prep. You take out your celery. Now I like my celery in a little bit smaller chunks. So after I cut off the ends, I'll slice it lengthwise in half. Then I'll be able to cut it into the pieces, that sizes that I like. I'm a small person, got a little mouth. I don't like chewing on big old pieces. You're going to be slicing up your onion, putting that in a bowl. You're going to be adding a little bit of the mayo, a little bit of the Dijon, a little bit of the Greek yogurt, add your tuna, and mix it all up. Now, what are you going to serve this with? Well, you can put it on a bed of lettuce if you want. Some people like to make it with a sandwich ready to go for their lunchtime meal, for their work lunch. But if you can't eat it that way and you don't want to have sliced bread, maybe find a really good quality cracker, or using vegetables as a vessel to hold that tuna fish. And what am I talking about? I'm talking you can have pieces of celery that you can then pieces of lettuce, like romaine lettuce, put it inside and then wrap it up like a burrito. You can use cucumbers like a dip, or even peppers are a nice little vessel. And then you're adding in those other vegetables, which add high nutritional value to your lunch meal and will bulk you up and fill you for longer times. Now, why is celery so great? Well, look what we just put in. We think it's just like, oh yeah, I'll put in some celery, no big deal. We just added to our fiber content. We just added to our anti-inflammatories. We just added to our vitamins. So no longer think of celery as that, I'll call it that boring vegetables. All right, next recipe. If you are into cooking shows like I am, when did I see it last? Oh, it wasn't actually a cooking show. It was Queer Eye. And he was taking somebody out to teach them how to make the basis of a really hearty Louisiana stew. But they started with mirepoix. It's Mirepoix. And it is the base for all sauces. It has onion, carrot, and celery. And it's used to build flavor. So you start with a little bit of olive oil and butter. You have a medium onion finely chopped. I've spoken about the onion in a previous podcast. Then you'll have the 2 celery stalks, finely diced. Again, split it in half, dice it up. And you will have a medium carrot, again, finely diced. Now, I will put carrots into quarters, cut in half again, especially if they're the smaller ones. If they have a big fat end on it, then I might cut them up a little bit more slim or smaller dice than that. And all you're going to do is you're going to saute that. You're going to get the oil nice and hot. You're going to add that onion, that celery, that carrot. You're going to get it nice and hot and toasty. And then you're going to be adding just a half a cup of vegetable stock. And you're going to let it simmer. Lower the heat. You do not want to burn these. You want just to build a nice flavor. And what are you going to do with that? Well, that is used for creamy Alfredo. It is used for spaghetti or marinara sauce, or it can actually be used for gravies. Nice, rich flavor to gravies. Now I'm going to end this podcast with a third recipe. Don't go away just yet. And the recipe is how to make a basic chicken vegetable soup with a lot of celery. And we're starting again with just a tablespoon of oil. Don't need more than that. Again, we have the onion. This time we're going 3 stalks of celery, 2 carrots, 2 garlic cloves minced. We'll want 6 cups of chicken stock, and we want 2 cups of cooked chicken, either chopped or shredded. Then we're going to be adding some seasonings, some thyme, some parsley, some salt and pepper. Sometimes I put in a little bit of sage, and you can flavor it. Maybe even, well, it depends upon how rich you want. Sometimes I put in cumin to make it really tasty. Now, this recipe is the same thing. We already showed you how to make a mirepoix. Again, pronounce that. So you're going to cook that onion, celery, and carrots for about 5 to 7 minutes until they're slightly softened. But this time, before we add in the stock, we are adding in that garlic to add that nice, rich flavor. And the garlic, if you put it in at the beginning, it will burn. So you wait until the vegetables are nearly done being nice and soft, and you put the garlic in. Then you're going to be pouring in the chicken sauce, chicken stock, and you'll be bringing it up to a simmer. You don't want it to be a rolling boil, you just want it to be a simmer. And then we're going to be adding, once it's simmered for a while, we'll be adding in the chicken and the seasonings, the thyme, parsley, salt, pepper, and you'll want to simmer for about 15 minutes. Now, your chicken is already cooked, so you just want all the flavors to integrate together. So you don't need to simmer or cook for long. Not like if you have the carcass left over from a baked chicken and you want to utilize all the meat on it. You'll be cooking it a little bit longer than just 15 minutes. And how do you go ahead and serve it? Well, you can serve it with a crusty slice of whole grain bread. You might want some crackers, but again, watch out for your refined carbs. So in conclusion for this episode, celery is more than a garnish for your Bloody Mary. Even though it's a tasty one when having a Bloody Mary, it's a versatile, nutritious ingredient, and it adds depth of flavor, and it supports your overall health goals. Now, if you would like these recipes, I have a new Facebook group. It is called Health, Habits, and Hope, the Talking Apron, and I'll be posting the recipes from this podcast there live. So go ahead and join that Facebook group. Be happy to share all those recipes and other tips and ideas. So again, whether you're whipping up a quick tuna salad or you're wanting to make a sauce or a comforting soup, celery is here to shine. Thank you for joining me today on this culinary journey. Don't forget to check out that Facebook group, Health, Habits, and Hope, for more tips and tricks. And until next time, eat, sleep, and live well.